Destination Uri, the morning programme. I'm Rowan Hand. This is Lynette Fay of the BBC. How are you?
I'm great, Rowan.
Thank you for coming out of the portals of the great BBC down to visit us in our modest Studio One this morning.
You're most welcome.
It's good to see you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Well, I'm up, bright and breezy. I'm not known as an early bird, Rowan, but I'm here for a good reason today. So I've
That
a bit of work
reason is to do with hospice.
Yeah, it is.
So tell us about that.
I decided about a number of months ago, just before Christmas, that I would walk a leg of the Camino. It's an organised trip by the Southern Area Hospice, and we'll be heading out to Galicia, the northern region of Spain.
I compliment you on your pronunciation.
Thank you very much.
Galicia.
Galicia. Well, that comes from my background of music. I know better than to call it northern Spain. So we'll be heading out in May, and I have a bit of fundraising to do. So with just less than a month to go, Rowan, the fundraising has to start in earnest. I've done a lot. This is a personal thing I'm doing.
Yes, of course.
It's nothing to do with my work, my job. It's just something I've wanted to do for me, and to do something for a wonderful cause as well. Because I just have seen the work that the hospice has done.
Has it touched you personally?
Personally, it has. It's touched a family very close to me, and I've seen the great comfort that it gave members of that family at a time when they were really at their wit's end.
I remember losing a friend in hospice, a beautiful lady, and I'd been up visiting her, and she was so at ease with what was occurring. She suddenly realized, she shook herself. She said, "Listen, I'm busy. I have got to get on with this. I have a place to go and a thing to do. I have my reading to do." And I was dismissed, and she was back into hospice reading and whatever.
That's it. There's a lovely atmosphere, and I think the team were to be commended, because they come up with so many incredible ideas, and once they have one idea finished and completed, it's on to the next one, on to the next one. It's a continuous cycle.
Why were you drawn to the Camino? Hospice, yes, to make money, but you could have climbed Kilimanjaro to do it. But the Camino pulled you.
I'd like to do something like that as well.
Yeah, but the Camino won to begin with.
It did to begin with, because I'm not very good at disciplining myself for any sort of training, Rowan.
Yes.
So this is minimal training involved.
26 miles a day, they say, for it.
Oh, it's 25 kilometres a day.
Yeah,
so
it's a bit less.
It's a bit less than that. It's not too bad. It's about, say, about 14 miles a day. So I'm preparing myself for that. But, you can go at your own pace. You don't have to go really quickly. You're not against the clock.
Yes.
You have to remember that most people in the region will be having their siesta when we arrive in at the next stopping point, or the next point where we're going to stay, things like that. So it won't be too bad. But at the same time, it is giving me a reason to do some fundraising, and that's a good thing.
The number. How many days will you be on the leg?
We're there beyond 6 days.
6 days.
Yeah. So about, say, 14 miles, 10 to 14 miles a day.
Aye. And will you be staying in the little hostelries along the way?
Yes.
Or are you getting fancy accommodation?
Yes. No, we stay in hostels, hotels along the way.
Yeah.
And then into Santiago de Compostela.
You will love going in there.
I can't wait. I've heard nothing.
Have you ever been in the square before?
No, I've never been in that region.
Well, this is a huge square, cobblestone square. And when you stand at the far end of it, looking across at the cathedral, there's the facade that reaches, 180 degrees, horizon to horizon. There it is, this magnificent work of architecture.
I look forward to that point, because I also look forward to that point for a couple of reasons, because I know then it's over. The goal has been achieved, and we finished the task in hand, and then you will be able to take in just the majesty of everything that's around you at that stage. But then I think I'll feel like a bit of a cheat as well, Rowan, because we're only doing the last leg of the Camino.
That's all right.
There are 4 other legs.
That's all right, for goodness sake. That's you could regard it as a start.
Possibly, yeah.
And be back for it more. You will love it, because
apart
from the spirituality of it, when you reach Santiago, if you leave, you enter the square under the arch at this side. When you leave the square at the other side, walk 100 yards, turn to the right, and 500 yards down there, the best restaurant in the world.
Oh, well, there you go.
And go and enjoy it, and have a wonderful time there.
I will.
The BBC these days, how are things going there? You're doing television as well as radio?
Things are great, yes. I work across TV and radio. I'm very lucky to be doing so. I work across English language and Irish language as well, Rowan.
Yeah.
to Gaelic Ogums to Mount Abroad last year, and I know there's an awful lot of Irish speakers in this area as well. And actually, when one of the projects I work on, and I've been lucky enough to work on over the last number of years, is Opry in Ure. We've been filming here in Ure.
Yes, of course.
So we make Ure our home for a number of weeks, and then the big show happens in the Town Hall Theatre, and hundreds of people come there every night to take part in the TV program.
You have a very easy broadcasting, camera-friendly way with you. It shines out of you. You're just totally natural to it. How long have you been doing it?
I think I've been doing this around 13 years.
13 years?
Yeah, I'm in the BBC 13 years. Started off in Irish language broadcasting, and that's all I ever wanted to do, was work on the Irish programmes and be involved with the language. And then from that, I got other opportunities. I was lucky enough to be presented with them, you know, filling in for the likes of Hugo Duncan in the afternoons. You know,
he's great.
It's you know, it's Marmite music. You love it or you hate it, but it's a massive audience, it's a very, very specific audience as well, you know, and I'm glad that they took me under their wing and kind of have accepted me now. I'm very lucky.
Hugo was down in Uri doing a thing in the library associated with mental health. They just went mad for him.
They love him. He is.
Hello,
he's a legend.
Hugo. Hello.
He's a legend, and what you see is, you know, what you hear is what you get.
Absolutely.
That's how he is on and off mic. You know, he's exactly the same.
RTE used to have a wonderful, and please forgive my pronunciation, a lovely Irish bilingual program, Drum agus Éadrom. Is that
Drum agus Éadrom? It would be
Irish and English together going there, and they did that.
Right.
It was lovely. And I don't have any Irish as a consequence of poor teaching in the local Christian Brothers, where I was stuck for a very short period of time until good sense prevailed and I was a runner.
Oh, no.
But the long and the short of it is that even not having the language, I loved that program, and I'd made a documentary on the poets of South Ulster.
Oh, yeah.
And I got Art McCooey and the like, and I got Jarlath Burns he's the headmaster of the school
St. Paul's.
St. Paul's. Jarlath read some of the poetry.
Oh, it's beautiful.
On the banks of Camla Lake.
Yeah.
And the rhythm of the language, the flow of the language, the musicality of the language. Yeah. I just felt I want to hear this forever. Didn't know what he was talking about, but it was gorgeous.
There's a wider thing with that as well, Rowan, because I think that an appreciation of Indigenous tongue anywhere. I'm actually working on a project at the minute which has been fascinating. It's about Irish language song and composition of Irish language song in contemporary terms.
Yes.
And why, as a nation, we don't pick up on this and we don't champion songs. They're not in the charts. We don't play them. They're not to be heard. There's no demand for the public to listen to them, etc. But you know, it's taken the presenter, who's a singer from Kerry, Pauline Scanlon, and I'm producing the documentary. It's taken her on a journey of the Celtic nations of these islands, you know, to Scotland and to Wales.
It's lovely.
And but there's an understanding there that if you are lucky enough to understand your indigenous language of your own country, it opens up your mind to so many other things. And we spoke to the broadcaster Caris Matthews. We went over to see her in BBC Six Music in London, and she said that it makes, you know, understanding the language of any region or any nation makes the menu. It makes it easier to choose from the menu, and it makes everything more delicious.
I can understand.
And the way she said it, and
you and I should go and take this message to Gregory Campbell and tell him and introduce him to it. But that's another fish to fry.
It is indeed. It is.
But in any event, I've a sailor all my life, and sailing to Peel in the Isle of Man, and going across the island and seeing the signposts and the street names and the townland names, I thought I was observing the Irish language. I was observing Manx language.
Yeah. Have you ever heard Manx spoken?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's right in between Scottish Gaelic and Irish.
Yeah. We're all part of the same family, really.
Absolutely, yeah, we are.
Which is great altogether. Now, remind the people of what you're doing today, why you're doing it, and what people can do to help you, and where you'll be doing it.
Where I'll be doing it is outside the First Trust Bank in Hill Street. I'll be standing there with my bucket. I'm going to get it right now. I'm a wee bit late. I need a run.
Okay.
Bucket and a bib. I don't think you'll be able to miss me. And I'm collecting money for the hospice. Give me a penny, give me a pound. whatever, just come and say hello. And
That's a nice idea.
My auntie is going to take over from me then at lunchtime because I have to
Good
go back
stuff.
because I have.
Is she your auntie in Newry?
No, she's not. She's
But you have a cousin in Newry.
I have a cousin in Newry, but she's working in Belfast, so she can't help me. So
There
my
you
auntie's
are.
coming in from Tyrone to help me this evening.
Good stuff.
She's very good. I have to go back to Belfast to present the
Lynette
show.
Fay, thank you very much
Thank you.
indeed. Go
You're
well.
welcome. Thank you
Make
very
a
much.
fortune for hospice today.
Hopefully.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank
Have a
you,
good
Rowan.
day. Take care.